Welcome everyone to the Avengenerds podcast, where we talk Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. I'm your host, Torin, and with me is my co-host, Peyton.
Present.
How's it going? He said present. All right,
I'm
so
good. We have a great show for everyone today. We have a good chunk of news, but we also have the big boy, which is talking about Ditko's estate and Disney suing and whatnot. And our topic today is our top 5 DC movies. So I think we should start off with some Marvel news.
okay,
Probably gonna save the estate stuff for last.
yeah, definitely.
Just some small stuff. Victoria Alonso, who's formerly the executive vice president of production, she's been promoted as the studio's president of physical and post-production, visual effects, and animation production. So,
Okay, sounds good.
definitely, she's been with Marvel Studios since before Iron Man. She's been there forever.
Dang.
This also means, I mean, if she's also head of animation production, that means we're definitely getting more animated stuff for the MCU, which is incredible. I really think animation, they can just go all out, and I think that would
Yeah, for,
be
for
great
sure.
to see in the MCU. Other
Well,
than that,
congrats to her. For sure.
definitely, 100%. Other than that, Miss Marvel is finally confirmed to be delayed for a 2022 release. It's unclear when in 2022, but it's probably early January or February, somewhere around there.
Yeah, definitely feel
Um,
like it should be around there.
but some controversial news about Miss Marvel. This was reported on a while ago, but it sort of was like unreported and then reported again. Miss Marvel's abilities will be changing in the show. First, it was reported that it was going to be sort of like a Green Lantern thing, except like purple, and like she would still have embiggening powers, but it'll be more sort of holographic, you know?
Okay.
And then it was reported that it would be her normal powers, and now it's being reported again that it is that Green Lantern thing. Um, I'm,
I
I,
don't. I don't know. I I kind of like. I would like the idea of her having both embiggen and like construct powers. Um, but I don't want her to just have like construct powers.
yeah, I'm kind of okay with it. Like the theory right now is that they don't want her powers to visually conflict with Mr. Fantastic's, but I feel like that shouldn't be that big of a deal. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, it is what it is. I think the reason is that they're not doing Inhumans, so they want to bring in Miss Marvel, so they have to find a workaround to give her these powers without having her be an Inhuman.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of understand that, but it's like Reed Richards' powers are greater than Miss Marvel's on a grander scale because essentially Miss Marvel is like Ant-Man, Miss Fantastic, and Captain Marvel in like one character. So I don't think it should be that big of a deal. But I mean, I'm all for like what they're going for, nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll find a way to, you know, make it look good. It probably
Yeah.
won't be that big of a deal when it comes out. Um, some a little bit of Disney Plus stuff. Black Widow and Shang-Chi are coming to Disney Plus. Black Widow is coming on October 6th, so no premium access anymore. And Shang-Chi will be coming November 12th on Disney Plus Day. So that'll be exciting. So if you haven't seen either of those movies yet because you don't feel like paying for it or you don't feel like going to the theater, it'll be on Disney Plus on those dates. And speaking of both those movies, they're the Assembled series that they've been doing for the Disney Plus shows
Yeah.
that have the behind the scenes looks. So Black Widow will be getting one on October 20th, and What If will be getting one on October 27th. So I'm excited
Nice.
to see the What If one. I really want to see the behind the scenes around that.
Yeah.
Um, an interesting piece of news: Dan Stevens is possibly playing the deviant Crow in Eternals. He was in an interview, and the interviewer asked him about being in Eternals, and he made a real sus comment. He also made a reference to Crow, and it seems like he is in the movie. He was also seen hanging out with the cast of Eternals while they were shooting, so it'd make a lot of sense. Also, Dan Stevens is a freaking fantastic actor. If you haven't seen Legion, please see Legion. It's like if you thought WandaVision was a mindfuck, you have not seen Legion. I mean, it really goes off the rails. And if you're a big, X-Men fan, I think you'll really enjoy it.
Definitely have to see it. Still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, bro. Unfortunately, it's on Hulu. So.
Yeah. Oh God, dude, I can't win. I think I'll just get it today.
Yeah, bro, just get Hulu, bro. Some DC stuff before we get into the big boy stuff. The director of The Flash posted a photo of what appears to be the Michael Keaton Batman suit spray painted red with a lightning bolt in the middle. What does that mean? Probably Red Death.
Red Death.
Presumably, I imagine it's Michael Keaton being Red Death if it's his suit. That's going to be real interesting to see. I don't know how they'll do it. I mean, it makes sense to have Michael Keaton come back, and he's so good at playing a villain that, I think Red Death makes sense. But there is a little bit of controversy surrounding it because people aren't really a fan that the suit is just spray painted red, unless it's just like, unless that's just like a tease, like saying, hey, Red Death we're doing Red Death.
It's definitely a tease, and I don't feel like people need to understand that we're not going to get everything right away in terms of like costumes and stuff like that, because they're still in production. So like, what if they're making the costume right now? Or actually, like I said, it could already be done, and it's just a tease. So I don't know why people are being upset about it. It shouldn't be controversial at all, in my opinion.
But what if it is the suit? What if it's just spray painted red with a little spray painted lightning bolt?
Gonna have to talk with someone.
I kind of hope that's what it is.
Hell no. It looks weird.
Some more DC news. This is really exciting. Both of us, if you people don't know, we're big fans of the scores for movies. And we got some news that Natalie Holt, the composer for Loki, which has an incredible score, is confirmed that she's working on HBO Max's Batgirl movie.
Nice.
So what she brought to Loki, if she brings that to Batgirl, that score's gonna hit different. Nice.
I know. For sure.
Speaking of scores, Ludwig Göransson is back.
Yes.
Off, his Emmy win, he is back to the Star Wars universe to score the Book of Boba Fett. So
makes sense since he did The Mandalorian.
Definitely makes sense. These people are. This is exciting, man. Both of these composers are just so good.
Composers in general are like, they bring like a new level of like music and art together.
They bring these movies together and shows together. Without it, like, imagine it just being silent the entire time.
Yeah.
They add an element that a lot of people don't realize, and they're very underappreciated.
Oh yeah, for sure. Some of my favorite composers are Lauren Balfe, Hans Zimmer, of course, Danny Elfman. Louis Göransson is really good too. Göransson, I can't pronounce.
I think it's Göransson. I don't know.
I always pronounce it Göransson because he also did Black Panther as well.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, composers are really, really well talented beyond my belief.
We got some miscellaneous news before we get into the big boy. This set of news, it's I both love it and I hate it. Nintendo had Nintendo had a little event, their Nintendo Direct, and they announced the cast for their animated Mario movie releasing December 21st, 2022, which, by the way, the official title is just Mario, which is, Joker vibes much. It's just Mario. I better see a gritty retelling and the origin of Mario. But the cast list is certainly, it's interesting. As Mario, we got Chris Pratt. Love him or hate him. This is certainly an interesting choice. As Luigi, we got Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which, if anyone's seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's actually not a bad choice. Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach, which is actually a solid casting choice. Jack Black is Bowser, which is,
I like the choice a lot. I like it.
Yeah, it's funny, but I think it'll work. Keegan Michael Key is Toad.
That works too.
That's perfect. And Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong.
Yes.
I could just imagine he's Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's like chasing after Mario or something, and he's chasing after him. He's chasing after him. He's going. Dude,
that would be hilarious.
Man. Also in the cast is Kevin Michael Richardson and Fred Armisen. Charles Martinet is also in the movie, presumably in a cameo role, because if you get him in the movie, why isn't he playing Mario kind of thing? So I imagine his role is going to be really small. But man, this cast is it's something else. I'll say that it's something else. I both love it and hate it, because there's honestly some solid casting choices, but at the same time, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But whatever the outcome is, this movie's gonna be, this movie's gonna produce some great stuff.
Yeah, it's either gonna be a really, really good movie or a bad movie in a really good way.
Right.
So.
So yeah, there's that. But now we got to get into the big news for this week. Steve Ditko's estate, and also I think Stan Lee's estate is also grouped in there. Is suing Marvel, not specifically Disney, not specifically Sony. They're suing just Marvel for the rights to. It's being reported that it's Spider-Man, but because that's the most popular character, that's what the big deal is. But we got to understand that it's not just Spider-Man. They are suing to hold on. They're suing to get the rights to Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Falcon, and more. This isn't just Spider. This is a much bigger attempt at a rights acquisition than people are realizing. It's not just Spider-Man. And speaking of not just Spider-Man, it's not just MCU Spidey. They're not just trying to take it from Disney. This is, if they win, which we'll get into the likelihood of that in a little bit. If they win, we'll be losing everything Spider-Man related. MCU Spider-Man's being taken out. Woohoo! Congrats, MCU Spider-Man haters. But we also wouldn't be getting Spider-Man 2 on PS5. We wouldn't. Comics would be done. Animated series. All that's going to be gone. Obviously, MCU stuff's. Just gutted. So this is not just. Yay, Spider-Man's being taken out in the MCU. That's not at all what this is. This is a much bigger deal. If you like just Marvel superheroes, this is not good news. There's a lot of people arguing this is good because boo, big companies or whatever. This is for creators or whatever.
Yeah.
This is certainly not for Steve Ditko or Stan Lee. This is 100% just
for
for
money.
money.
Yeah, exactly. And people gotta understand is that like, yeah, even though like, yeah, I understand, the big corporations, like, Disney and Marvel. We also gotta understand like people's childhood heroes not being seen in like any forms of media is gonna be really, really it's a big deal. It's a great big deal. So like the fact that people are saying that is kind of insensitive to me. Because of course, I grew up on Marvel, especially Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a lot of childhood heroes. He is the face of Marvel, and the fact that people were saying like, oh, the creators' families deserve to win. Also, gotta say that Steve Ditko and Stanley, they were working for hire, and that's like a really big law when it comes to like these big companies. So it's just like he kind of made these heroes for the company at the time, and it's not like hey, like they weren't being compensated at all because they were at the time.
Yeah, we
So
also got to understand that if this goes through, there's going to be an insane amount of jobs lost. And
exactly.
I mean, people that have worked their lives to create the MCU, I mean, Spider Verse, I mean, just anything Marvel related, people have worked their lives to get here for. And the smaller people who won't have the luxury to just get another job, I mean, that's devastating.
I
um
know.
so yeah, like you said, it's pretty insensitive to be like down with bad companies or down with big corporations or whatever, because it's not just big corporations. There's normal people working normal jobs that will not have jobs anymore.
Exactly.
um
And there's also like the argument I've been seeing is that like Stanley and Ditko wouldn't want this, right? And the other people are like, "Why don't put words into a dead man's mouth?" But also you gotta understand, Stan Lee he's doing cameos for Marvel movies for like almost 20 years. He loved these characters. So did it's like so did Ditko, and it's just like the fact that it's funny how now all of this is like coming to light. It's like what is it even? I mean, of course it's for money, but it's like why? Like
and
like
I
why
think
all of a sudden?
some past like Steve Ditko comments and like his sort of attitudes toward this sort of stuff. Honestly, if he was alive, I wouldn't be surprised if he did support this. But
Hmm.
I think it's important to realize that legally speaking, they don't really have any grounds to sue them.
Yeah,
Also, I do think they should be compensated more,
of course, yeah,
because like we've seen in the past how Disney doesn't really compensate their comic creators properly, and that's an issue. But I do think the Ditko family should be paid, but to just sort of try to strip the rights from Marvel is just such an odd move.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and
I understand.
I guess now we can get into the likelihood of this actually going through. Not likely, like at all. The people the person representing the Ditko estate represented someone
It
with
was
a
Jerry Siegel's family for the rights of Superman because DC had
right,
a similar case with that. So yeah, that same lawyer is representing the Ditko estate, in which
and
fuck
they lost the
yeah, they
Superman
lost.
fight
Yeah,
um, pretty easily. There wasn't really, I mean, so if they lost that, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer that they will lose this one. So I don't really think there's anything to worry about. Um, but even still, just even the, I mean, just even the thought of them winning is just concerning to me.
yeah.
Imagine because of this the MCU's done, right? And then all we have is DC movies.
Oh man. But
Uh,
like the thing is also like there is another like way. So there I saw two things about this saying if the family wins, then Disney will have to share the rights to the characters. and they'd be compensated, right? There's also a point that I saw that the family wins, takes the characters, and then sells them to like Disney. So like, they don't have them from like Sony or anything like that. That's what I've been seeing on Twitter and stuff like that. So, but other than that, I don't want the. I mean, not to say that they don't deserve their money. They should be compensated. I just don't want like them to win the lawsuit.
Yeah, and it's another one because again, this whole thing is for money. So either two things will happen. If they lose, they'll probably settle it out of court, and they're gonna get paid
Yeah,
anyway. If they win, they're just gonna take the rights and sell it to the highest bidder, whoever is gonna pay them more for the rights to those characters again, which will probably be Disney again.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, it's they're not gonna win. They're not gonna win, but even if they do
I don't know,
win,
man.
I imagine it'll still work out. Probably, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just hope there is a great outcome for, you know, a lot of us fans, and of course, like we said, it is fair that they should be compensated, but to just strip the rights from characters, it's just a very selfish thing because it's like just imagine, like, of course, the MCU is a very big, like, like arguably the biggest franchise like of all time, and just strip those characters away and not have any movies or content with them after it's like we're getting more of it. It just doesn't seem right to
Yeah,
me.
it's like they definitely know how much joy this stuff brings people, and to just sort of try and strip that away. I mean, even if you want money, even if you want compensation, is this really the way to go about it?
Yeah, of course.
It's
And it's
just
like
it's just odd.
it really is odd, and it's like I was just saying, like, it's funny how they're doing this now after like like them like announcing like Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, of course more movies are getting like made. It's like why, bro? Like,
There is if they do win, it's not like they would take the rights, I think, in 2023, so they'd have
yeah,
that window to like do whatever. So we'd still get No Way Home, we'd still probably get Spider-Verse. Insomniac would probably rush out Spider-Man 2 to get it out before that deadline. um, but yeah, like I said earlier, it's just not likely that they'll win. So I'm
yeah.
not gonna lose sleep over this. But yeah, this isn't that big of a deal.
I mean, well, like I said, we'll uh hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Definitely. So is it time for the topic?
It is time for the topic.
All right, so we're going to be ranking our top 5 DC movies because we just did like 3 Marvel podcasts in a row, and in this show we talk about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. So we got to talk about DC. Um, we're gonna be ranking our top 5 just like we did last week. We're gonna alternate from bottom to top. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
I think you went first last time. So you want me to go first?
sure.
Um, the number 5 spot for me was really hard to pick. It was between my number 5, uh, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and Batman Begins. Uh, Ultimately, it came down to my enjoyment of the movies compared to one another to put it in this number 5 spot. But man, was it close! So my number 5 spot is Shazam. Uh, I mean,
Okay.
Shazam. I mean, it was just so much fun. I mean, I think it's as good as any other superhero movie, probably better. I think it's a simple story. I think that's one of the criticisms it got, that it was a pretty basic plot, but I didn't really care. The villain was basic, but I think that was kind of the point, is that he was kind of basic. The performances were great. Zachary Levi is a great casting choice. The kids were really good actors, and they weren't annoying, which is sometimes rare. It was just really fun, man. I feel like from the last podcast I kept saying this movie is really fun. I mean, it's really fun. It's just in this spot. It's really fun. But like this one, I mean, this one's just legitimately fun. I think it was a really good change of pace for the DCEU at the time. It was certainly needed, and that's why it takes my number 5 spot.
I think it's a very solid placement. For my number 5 is Superman the movie, Christopher Reeves Superman.
I thought about putting that in my top 5, but for me it came down to like, am I putting this here because respect, or am I putting this here because I actually think it's better?
For me, I definitely enjoy Christopher Reeve Superman. I'm gonna have to rewatch those movies, but overall, like,
and by rewatch you mean you'll rewatch 1 and 2, and then pretend the other two, pretend 3 and 4 don't exist.
Well, I've never seen 3 or 4, so
maybe you should save yourself. I actually don't think 4 is that. I mean, it's pretty bad, but I don't think it's. I think people think it's the worst. I think 3 is probably the worst.
Isn't the one with evil Superman?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's number 3.
Okay. But I just think that the first Superman movie is really good. It's definitely a good, like, Christopher Reeves is the perfect Superman. 100%. Like no one can say that otherwise. It's like they literally took him straight out of the comics. I think it's a really good movie. It's a really fun, enjoyable watch for people, and it's definitely like a really good movie for like the golden age of superhero movies.
100%. Yeah, Christopher Reeve is unmatched. I always, anytime I think about Superman, well, anytime anyone really thought about Superman, it's always Christopher Reeve's version. I mean, he was the blueprint for Superman. His version inspired a lot of what came in the comics.
Exactly.
I mean, anytime I think about like the embodiment of who Superman is as a character, I always think of the one scene in Superman 78 where he is with Lois, and he's like, Lois, I gotta tell you something. He takes off the glasses, and he like immediately his posture changes and his voice changes. And when Lois comes back in, he immediately slouches over, puts on the glasses, and he puts back on like the Clark Kent persona. And it's so perfectly done. It's so good.
I know.
I mean, man. Yeah, I mean,
it's really good.
I mean, yeah, definitely. That spot is well deserved.
Honestly,
my number 4. Sort of similar in a way to yours for Superman 78. I think this one is just again sort of the blueprint for what came after.
I feel it. I already know what
you already feel. You feel it's coming. It's obviously Batman 89.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I mean, before this came out, I mean, everyone was doubting it. It's like Tim Burton. It's like, I guess because, the dark tone, I guess. But at this time, people were still like, Batman's wacky. It's like Adam West. So when this came out, and then Michael Keaton, his casting, it's like you get this comedy actor for Batman. That doesn't make any. That's the dumbest decision you could possibly do. Then obviously it came out, and this movie is the only reason that Batman the Animated Series exists. Not to mention Danny Elfman's score. I mean, come on. It's so good. I still think, in my opinion, at least until The Batman comes out, I think this is the best Batman suit, in my opinion. I feel like that's an unpopular opinion because everyone really likes Bale's and Affleck's and whatever. But it's just classic. It's classic. Jack Nicholson is Joker is just it kills it. It's sort of a different take on him too, with how he has like that permanent smile or whatever. I think that's really interesting. I think it's great, classic, great. It's the blueprint for what came after it. It's part of the reason we sort of have that dark and gritty toned Batman, which they kind of reverted back to the wacky stuff with the Schumacher films. But I mean, then we went back to dark and gritty with the Nolan films. I mean, and these are campy in their own way, but I mean, for the time, it was pretty serious. So yeah, that's why it's at my number 4.
All right, coming in my number 4, diving deep into the animated universe, Batman: The Killing Joke.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Not to say it shouldn't, like, okay, so basically when I make my list, they're not really like rated, but of course, when I'm writing them, they're like number 4, whatever.
Yeah.
But the reason why it's like this is on my top 5. Why is it not in your top 5? This movie is.
Why is it not I mean, yeah, I'll say why it's not in my top 5. You go.
Okay. So pretty much like Batman: The Killing Joke was like a movie that I saw that like, I was still getting to the animated universe, and I was like, let me watch The Killing Joke, and my God, like Joker is like, oh my God, this is like probably like peak Joker and like peak development for not only like Joker, Barbara, but also like Bruce Wayne or Batman, because he's like, it goes to like this dilemma of like, how could someone do something like this cruel? Of course, you have stuff like that with like with Jason Todd and all that stuff, but still, I feel like that's why this movie is it hits hard for me too. I still need to get the comic. I still need to get the comic of The Killing Joke.
It's relatively inexpensive too. I mean,
yeah,
comics are definitely worth the cop. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of comics are really, really expensive.
Such a short read too.
It is a short read, and like I never realized how inexpensive comics were, and so I went to a comic book shop like near me, and they're like less than $5.
Yeah, I don't know where I got the idea that comics were like uber expensive. That's why I always never bought comics. I was like, I mean, they're freaking expensive. And then one day, I was like, I kind of want The Killing Joke. So I went on Amazon, and it was like, I don't know, like $15, and I was like, what?
It's because like we have this idea that like because comics are so preserved, and that people just like take really good care of them, they just become like super high in price, and that's why like we just have this idea that comics are just super expensive because they're kept like really well in great condition, that like they're just gonna be like super duper expensive.
Yeah, now I got several comics. I got The Long Halloween, which I still got to read because I know it's different from the animated movies. I got Spider-Man Life Story. I got Old Man Logan, which I still got to read them. Just haven't really had time, but I definitely I am going to get to them. But yes, The Killing Joke is certainly not in my top 5 because I do not like it.
You don't like it?
No, I do not like it. The comic, incredible. Amazing. But yeah, that animated movie was just not, it was not there. They added that whole first 30 minutes of that movie because they needed to make it an hour long, and it's just so unnecessary and weird. Why is Batman hitting Batgirl? Hell no. Like, no. Just no. I mean, no. God. And then they changed some of the lines from the comic, like Joker's classic, iconic Killing Joke monologue. They altered, and then the voice direction, it's like Mark Hamill's gonna do what Mark Hamill does, but just the way they directed him to say those lines just was not hitting.
And probably because you dislike the movie so much and like haven't read the comic, that probably hasn't hit me yet. That's probably why.
I hadn't read the comic.
You haven't read the comic?
I hadn't read the comic before I watched the movie.
Well, still, my point still stands. You see the differences, and that's probably why you like the comic a lot more.
I don't dislike. I don't not like the movie. I shouldn't say that I don't like it because it's fine. But
But
that's all.
compared to the comic, like it's
Compared to most other DC animated movies, I still don't think it's that good.
okay. You know, and that's fair.
Like
That's
the Long
fair.
Halloween movies that just came out, I think those are better. I think the
Yeah.
most recent Superman animated movie, I think that's better. Under the Red Hood's better.
There's still a lot of Batman movies I have yet to see. I have to yet see like Son of Batman, Batman Year One, Batman Hush, Beyond, Batman Beyond, like the movie.
You haven't seen
I
Return of
said
the
it.
Joker?
No, I haven't seen them.
Oh,
Dude, there's a
oh, you're
lot of
hurting me.
there's a
Oh,
lot of anime movies I get to
it's
see,
right there
dude.
on HBO Max. It's right there.
I'm not on HBO Max all the time,
Oh
bro.
my god, you just watched Titans.
I did just watch Titans, and I had to go to
Oh
sleep.
my god, you haven't seen. Oh,
I had
it's
to
a
go.
classic. And I mean, when Joker shows up and he's like, "Hey, what's going on? It's me, Joker." Eh? I mean, oh, oh
Well,
no.
how about this? I'll watch it today. All right, how about that? I'll go on a Batman marathon. Sounds good.
Hell yeah.
All right,
Oh,
sounds good.
oh, jeez.
Now get into your third top three.
Um, speaking of
Uh,
animated Batman movies, do you think
movies.
you know what I'm about to say? It's a classic. It's great, incredible, arguably one of the best Batman movies.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I do.
yeah, definitely. It's
Hmm.
Batman under the. No, it's not. It's Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Um,
Interesting.
I mean, this is just. I actually just watched this. I think for the first time, like maybe last year. I think I might be. I think it might be a little bit before last year, but I hadn't seen this movie before, and everyone said, all these great things about it. It's the best Batman movie ever, and I was like, I'll be the judge of that. Uh, but man, was it freaking good. Um, have you seen this?
No.
Of course you haven't. Uh, I mean, the Phantasm was a villain you hadn't really seen before. Um, I mean, I don't really know what to say about it. I mean, it's in the Batman the Animated Series universe, which is already a plus. So you got Kevin Conroy, you got Mark Hamill, but man, it's really unique too. There's really no other Batman story like it, in my opinion. And it's just it's incredible. Again, you got to add that to your Batman marathon.
Dude, oh my god. I I wish there was a like chronological order for the animated universe, but of
There
course
is,
there's not. There is?
there is,
There is?
there is.
Every time I look it up, there's like, oh my god, they're like they show it in like release order every time I look
Nah,
it up.
nah. There's definitely a chronological order.
Okay, well then I'm going I always have to go things chronologically,
You
bro.
you mean for like for Batman the animated that universe, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about for like everything. Like Superman, Batman, like all that stuff.
Well, because there's the DCAU and the DCAMU.
Oh,
So the DCAU is the DC animated universe that is basically the Bruce Timm universe with Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series,
yeah, okay.
Batman Beyond, stuff like that. And the
Yeah,
DCAMU
yeah.
is the stuff like Batman Hush and
Yeah, the movies and stuff like that. Yeah.
but then you
Okay.
got stuff like Killing Joke and Under the Red Hood. Those are their own things. Those are one offs.
Okay. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
But
Okay.
yeah. So what's your number three?
My number three, Shazam.
Shazam!
For all the reasons you guys said about this movie, just apply that to me, but like by 10. I loved Shazam ever since I was a kid because I like the idea of like just turning into like a hero by just, screaming out like a word. That's really cool to me. Um like, having the same powers as Superman almost, but like, just by with gods.
Arguably more powerful.
Yeah, arguably more powerful than Superman. But like I know I really had like a lot of love for this character as a kid. And that's probably why whenever I saw the movie, I had the biggest smile on my face, bro. It
Bro,
was so good.
I was honestly so sad. My parents do not like this movie.
That sucks, bro.
I
Cause I'd be
know.
devastated. I'd be devastated if they said that to my
Because I
face.
was like, because they aren't a huge, they're not big DC people.
That
My dad likes DC, but pretty much just Batman.
makes sense.
So
Okay.
I was like, well, this is if any DC movie is gonna come close to a Marvel movie, it's this one.
Yeah.
So I was like, they'll like this one, and they didn't. I
Oh
was like, oh no.
God, dude.
Um,
So
I remember the only thing I dislike about this movie, if I had to choose something, is the suit. But even then, like the suit, in my opinion, it's the perfect design. The design's perfect, but there's just so much padding.
yeah.
It's borderline distracting because I'm like, Zachary Levi is not that big, and his head kind of looks kind of small in the suit.
Flashpoint Superman.
Um, exactly. Um,
But I think they nailed it in the second one. This
yeah, the new
the
one's
second
coming
suit.
out. Yeah, definitely. It's a lot better.
Less padding, brighter. The lightning bolt isn't as big. It's like kind of a little bit like slanted from what I've seen in
Yeah, my only complaint
the
about the new
shots.
one is that it seems as though there's no hood. It's just a cape.
Yeah, because they do that with capes a lot. They have to CGI it in.
Yeah, but like,
But other than
I want
that,
my
it
hood.
looks great. I know, right? It looks good. But yeah,
Um,
that's my top three. That's my third movie.
yeah. So my number two is I mean, I don't really know what to say about this movie because it's just a delight, but also incredibly saddening. It's the Suicide Squad.
Wow.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad obviously like just came out, but boy did it just shoot up to the top of my list almost. I mean this every character was I was gonna say every character's at their peak as if we've seen them before, but every character was
Mm.
so good. Harley Quinn was probably the best we've ever seen her, minus maybe Birds of Prey. Um, every character was so great. The deaths were almost every death that wasn't just cannon fodder hit hard. Um, Characters that were in the previous movie that it's like, why do we care about this person? We end up caring about in this one. I won't get
Mm.
into it just in case you haven't seen it, but my God.
No, it's been a month. If you haven't seen it, shame on you. Go into it.
All right, fine. Rick Flag in the
Oh my.
in the last movie, it's like who I couldn't care less about this dude. So just some generic military guy. Like why I don't. And then in this one, they don't even. It's not like they get into his backstory even. Like there's literally it's just the same guy, but it's something about him in this movie hits so much harder. And then when he gets killed, man.
I know, dude. And like literally the motto or the slogan of this movie is "Don't get attached." And I fucked up watching this movie because I got so
For
attached,
real,
bro.
man.
For no like just like you said, like they don't dive into his backstory. He's essentially the same character in a way, but like just better. But like when he died, it's just like, I think it's because like he in a way he was so passionate about like saving like Harley and stuff like that, actually helping people and wanting to help the public. I think that's why like it hit hard.
Honestly, I should have assumed in the beginning of the movie that the entire team was cannon fodder. Well,
Mhm.
I knew that some of them at least would have been cannon fodder, like Pete Davidson. Like
Yeah.
that man was going to die guaranteed. But I didn't think every single one of them was going to die. Mainly Captain Boomerang.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
man, he was literally the best part of the last movie, and he's just gone.
I
I
know.
was like, no, man, why? But also, I respect it. Like,
Yeah.
um,
And I mean, of course, this is like the same. Like we have the same ranking.
Suicide
And
Squad is your number two.
yeah, yeah. And also the thing is, like I said with like in a previous podcast, I believe, but James Gunn has a really good way of bringing not so known characters to light and making them just lovable.
He also has
That's
a
why,
way of incredibly balancing, except Guardians of the Galaxy 2, humor and a serious tone, sadness
yeah,
and emotional scenes. He does so incredibly well, and
exactly.
this movie is just another example of that. I mean, we get like Harley Quinn's little joke about how it's raining, and it's like, oh, it's like angels are splooging all over us or whatever. But and then you cut to her killing the sort of I don't even know that like government dude or whatever.
Yeah,
After they just had a sex montage, and she goes on this like whole mini rant of how she gets attached to him, then it's just like, and how she's like scarred from relationships because Joker and whatever, and it's like, man,
she has to like watch out for red flags and stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah, that was really good. And I definitely think that this is like a really really good movie.
And also taking such a ridiculous threat like Starro and making him a genuinely scary villain.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, yeah, that scene where they're sort of like figuring everything out, and they sort of like peel the starfish off the face, and
yeah, it's really like like Sorrow is a really really good villain because it's also like he like of course like he Sorrow is a victim. He just was chilling in space. Man, just chilling in space, and then they captured him. And of course, for 30 years they're tormenting on him and experimenting on him. No wonder why he wanted to go bad, but still. Um,
And the action was
yeah.
so good too. Like I adored the scene where Peacemaker and Bloodsport are having the little competition of seeing who
Yeah,
can get
that
like
was
the coolest kill.
that was really good. I like that
Oh
a lot.
man. And that makes me
like
that scene made me more excited for the Peacemaker show too. Just seeing that ruthlessness.
Mm-hmm.
So the action and the gore presumably in Peacemaker is going to be on another level.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man, this movie is so good. I've only seen it once. I haven't rewatched it yet, which kills me because I wanted to rewatch it. The first time I watched it, I was like, man, I got to rewatch this, and I just never got to. I already pre-ordered the Blu-ray, so I mean that'll come when it comes. I think it's coming in a month.
Yeah,
But man,
I saw it 3 times. Well, 2 other times besides watching it on the release day, and I feel like it just gets better and better as you watch it. To be honest,
yeah,
but
man, I thought
really
if I had to nitpick, and I mean really nitpick, because there's not a lot to dislike about this movie, is maybe sort of Starro at the end. Like they sort of tee him up to be like, like you said, the victim, or whatever, and then Starro was like, "This city's mine," or whatever, and I'm like, "What's that about?" But I mean, yeah, that's just like the most nitpicky of nitpicks.
yeah,
So yeah, that's mine and your number twos, and so I'm actually, you know what? I think I know what your number one is now. Now that we're here,
what is it? What is it?
Hey, it's my turn. It's my turn. What are you doing? Hey.
What are you talking about? You already went.
Yeah, but your number two is also the Suicide Squad, so it's my turn again.
How?
Because I went first.
Yeah, we both have the same one. You already announced yours, so it should be my turn for number one.
No, it's my turn for number one. Because my
Okay,
number
we'll
two
go.
is the Suicide Squad.
Okay, we'll go. Okay, then just go.
Which means your number two is the Suicide Squad. So if
Okay.
I went, then you went, then it'd be me again.
Okay.
It's The Dark Knight. I mean, I know there's is there anything much to say here that hasn't already been said? Shut up. Shut
Typical.
up. Listen, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I'm
Typical.
not. I'm certainly not one of those people that's like
The typical.
Dark Knight's the best movie to ever exist ever. Like, no. I also have my issues with this movie, but
Typical.
I mean, it can't be denied how good this movie is.
Mm.
I mean, I don't really have anything to say about it because this movie's sort of been beaten to death. So I have nothing to add. So what's your number one, which is obviously Zack
So
Snyder's Justice League?
I actually changed my list.
You
It
did?
was Batman Under the Red Hood, but I
Oh.
changed it. So and it's Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, well, there you go. Typical.
But here's the reason why I put this as my number one, right? Is because like Zack Snyder just gets
Snyder
screwed
fanboy.
over. Oh, okay, okay,
I'm
buddy.
just kidding.
I'm gonna say, but like I feel like that because this is like a really big win for Zack Snyder, and seeing his vision you know like come to life is actually really really good to me. And also I of course this is 4 hours of content, but it's also nice seeing Cyborg being like the main the
Cyborg
center of of
actually
the
being a
team.
character.
Yeah, and it's like it's really nice seeing how he's the center of everything and how powerful he is. Like, and it's like you don't have to go around stopping bad guys and stuff, but that one little moment when like he turns like $11 into like 100,000 for that mom, that is like a hero. Not only like did she he saved her life by doing that because she was like poor and stuff like that, and she was struggling with a kid. So that was like a really good moment for me. Also seeing just a little bit more of like Superman, even though we should have got more Superman, but of
Yeah, it
course
was like
that
about
wasn't
the
the
same
idea.
amount of Superman that we got in the theatrical release.
Yeah, it was like which was like well overall like 10 minutes
Yeah, it kind
of
of
screen
sucks, but
time.
it is what it is.
I know. Was I seeing that black suit? Still wish he had a mullet and a beard, but whatever. Um, there's that. Also nice seeing a little bit more Flash. Really, really nice instead of him just being overly comedic.
What
God,
is brunch? I don't get
like
it. What's brunch?
yeah, it's like it was nice seeing him.
It's like lunch and breakfast in one. What? I don't get it.
But yeah, it was just really nice seeing him actually see more development to his powers, and also that little scene with him trying to get a job like a vet clinic or whatever.
Yeah.
That was nice seeing that. Of course, you still have the standard like Aquaman, Batman, all that stuff. But also it was nice seeing Dark Side and the whole entire backstory change, Steppenwolf design, and seeing Martian Manhunter, who was originally supposed to be Green Lantern, but WB was like, we should have Martian Manhunter. Like, whatever.
No, I think that was Martian Manhunter.
No,
And
but Green Lantern, no, it was originally supposed to be Green Lantern.
it was
Yeah.
originally supposed to be Green Lantern at the end,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Martian
exactly,
Manhunter was always like pretending to be
Yeah. That's
Martha.
Martha. That's what that's what I meant.
Martha.
At the end, it was supposed to be Green Lantern.
Why did you say that name?
I fucking hate that line, bro. I hate that shit. But overall, yeah, I like seeing, because I feel like that's what directors need, or like studios need to do more often, is seeing directors' visions come to life. Because like literally the best two DC films of the year were of course Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Suicide Squad, was because the studio has let them have their creative expressing themselves creativity through film, and that's probably why a lot of people like this movie so much. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. It's really good.
Definitely. You want to get into some honorable mentions?
Sure.
All
Wait.
right.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Number one was The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Forgot.
my number was Dark Knight. Because of course it is.
Forgettable. I'm just kidding. I'll start off first with my honorable mentions. definitely have to be The Dark Knight, honorable mention. I'm gonna get hate here. If this, I'm gonna get hate here. Yeah, this movie is definitely overrated as fuck. Not that I say it's bad because Nolan knows how to. He knows his Batman. He knows how to direct well when it comes to Batman and his villains.
Till he ruined
Um,
Bane. Ew.
nah,
I'm just kidding.
I'm glad that Bane wasn't like a, drug addict who needed to get powerful. But
Yeah, it
like
was
the fact
definitely a
that
good change, and it worked for his universe.
yeah. I mean, I think The Dark Knight is a really good movie, but to me, it's not like the Dark Knight. I feel like it's a more you get a feel of wanting more Heath Ledger. Not to say that everyone doesn't do like a really good, they don't do their role well because Michael Caine, great actor, legendary actor, I would say as Alfred. Of course, Christian Bale as Batman, but I just feel like whenever I'm watching the movie, it's like I want to see Heath Ledger. I want to see him more.
Yeah,
But
he's really the driving force of that movie.
of course, um,
Um, One of my honorable mentions is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Um,
fair.
it didn't break my top five because I kind of came down to um, it would only be in my top five just out of respect of how it got there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I certainly have my issues with this movie. It certainly doesn't need to be 4 hours long, but I understand why it's 4 hours long. They want to. Snyder wants to put everything he had into that movie. I mean, it was certainly, admittedly, I wasn't 100% on board for this because I was like, like I'm sure it'll be cool, and I always respected the fact like he should get a chance to have his version because I mean it's just not cool for what obviously what happened to him, and then just for his work to be just sort of redone, not cool. But I was never really interested because I'm just not a huge Snyder fan in general. But he definitely surprised me with this one. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. But it's still a Zack Snyder movie. So yeah, it didn't break my top five, but it was pretty close. Admittedly.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. Because I know, yeah, of course, talking to you for a long time, I know you weren't the biggest Zack Snyder fan, but of course, that's, like I said, it's fair.
Got
Glad to
another.
see you. Glad to see you're not like hating on it like some others were. It's like, oh my god, I'm like, bro, shut up, bro. All right, we're not gonna get into that.
Got another
Um,
honorable mention.
yes, Watchmen. You know
Hmm.
how much I love Watchmen,
Yeah,
bro.
Snyder fanboy.
I am a Snyder fanboy. I'm proud of it. But dude, this movie is so good, man. So good. I love Watchmen with all my heart. I think I I used to say, at the time when it came out, is definitely underrated. Watchmen is definitely underrated. But now I think it's perfectly rated because you have Doomsday Clock and you have the HBO show coming out. That would but I love Watchmen with all my heart. I love it.
Yeah.
I love how it's really, really gritty, really like a really dysfunctional team from like even from present day to the past. Really great characters like the comedian, um, Dr. Manhattan, Rorschach. But yeah, I love that movie.
I think it's fine.
That's fine.
It's
And
fine.
Watchmen isn't for everybody because like I said, if you're not, how can I say this? If you're not into, like kind of more like gritty superhero teams, and I guess this isn't for you. But overall, I still feel like it should be given a chance.
Yeah, I get
I
that.
I, I like it a lot though.
Um, one of my honorable mentions is Batman Begins.
Okay.
Man, this movie's underrated. Everyone talks about The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. I mean, it's Dark Knight's my number one, but I mean people don't give Batman Begins its credit. I think.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's Gotham is better than The Dark Knight. It's like The Dark Knight. It kind of just felt like a normal city, but Batman Begins it felt like Gotham.
Yeah,
Um,
you saw like the chaos and the destruction of it.
yeah.
You know. Yeah,
Uh,
you saw that.
Scarecrow I thought was a really good first villain for that
Yeah,
movie, and I think he was done really well. Cillian Murphy is, I mean, he killed it. Uh, I mean, yeah, Batman Begins is just really underrated, and I think it should be put in the conversation more of one of the best superhero movies.
for sure. Uh, my last honorable mention. Uh, what is Joker? Joker's an honorable mention. We were getting to this in the before the podcast. Um, People who say that Joker is a masterpiece is very concerning to me. Uh, let's see, I definitely think Joker was a really good film, really good take of the Joker. I like how they actually gave him like sort of a backstory, a little bit, and you see the progression of his character starting to just like dive down, you know. And also every time I watch that movie, it puts the quote, like, the Joker quote saying, "All it takes is it's one bad day," right? That is that quote into like a movie. That's
Yeah.
why it's in my honorable mention.
Um, when we watched that movie initially, I came out of it like this movie's incredible. It's like one of the best or whatever. But the more I kept thinking about it, and I have rewatched it since. Uh, I don't know. It just kind of lost its charm for me, I guess. I mean, it doesn't at the end of the day, it doesn't really feel like the Joker to me. And I know it's a different take on the character, but I feel like I should be able to look at that character and be like, yeah, he could take on Batman, and I don't feel that way. Uh,
Yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix's performance is phenomenal, and I don't want to take that away from him. I just don't think the movie is all that special. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, like I said, I didn't really feel like it was Joker. I felt like it was unnecessary. Like you could have the same movie and called it, remove the DC tag, called it The Clown, and it would. I mean, there's I don't know. I wasn't. And it felt weird too because again I came out of it like really 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 liking it, and just the more I thought about it I was like, do I like this movie? I don't know if I like this movie. um
yeah. And I definitely feel like this movie is really really well as a standalone, and I don't think that this Joker should interact with like anything else.
Also,
Like,
why a sequel is still in development? Why is it getting a sequel? For what reason do we need a sequel to this?
yeah, I don't think there should be a sequel to this at all. I think it ended well for what it was, and for the ending, it leaves like the question: is that like did this all happen in his head, or was this actually for real? And it's all like I said, yeah, it's all for up into interpretation to the audience.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely don't think that this movie is the best. Definitely not a like it's not the worst movie.
I
And
think
but
it's like you called The Dark Knight overrated. I think Joker is the most overrated DC movie.
yeah, I think both are equally overrated in some capacity. Like I said, I just don't think that the Joker is a masterpiece, nor is the Dark Knight. None of both of them are not masterpieces. Term is loosely,
Would you say Logan is a better movie than The Dark Knight?
definitely.
I agree.
It's because with Logan, um, people can use this whatever. I don't think it's like that. With Logan, I definitely think that it is a good passing for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine because considering he didn't want to play him anymore, and I think it's really well for him as someone who's been playing the character for 17 years to just like let it go. I think that it hits very well in terms of like action, cinematography, and the character development and what's that word called? It's like not attraction, but fuck,
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with this.
no, it's like attachment. There, attachment.
Oh, okay.
Character attachment. That's what I like about Logan.
Definitely, I 100%.
But like every like Marvel DC fan, their top three is the same. It's like Logan, Dark Knight, and the Joker. It's like, oh god. Not to say Logan doesn't deserve a spot on their list because it's definitely a top tier movie, but it's like everyone's like lists are the same as from what I see on TikTok.
Really, I think all the sort of top threes that I see is Logan. Not this is in any particular order. Just the top three I usually see is Logan, The Dark Knight, and Into the Spider-Verse.
I see that mostly in top fives. Top fives is like, it's like okay. Usually, like some people's top fives are like Logan, The Dark Knight, Joker, Into the Spider-Verse, and you have like Avengers Endgame. I'm like, oh my god, like, oh bro.
The last honorable mention I have is I think this one's surprising. Birds of Prey.
Oh yeah, okay. I like that a lot.
I think
I like
people did. I don't think people gave this movie
the appreciation it deserves.
100%, man. I mean, the action was great. The characters were good. Title should have definitely been renamed. I mean, it's called Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Who the hell came up with that title?
No. It's not even the fact that like someone thought of the title. It's the fact that who let that title become the actual name of the movie.
What a horrible decision. But it did not help this movie at all. It also didn't help that this movie came out like during like the peak of like sort of the fear of the pandemic, so people like were really not going to see anything.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, like there's more cases now than ever. Like
I know.
So really, people shouldn't be going to the theater now, if anything. But it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, this is it's a really good movie. People,
yeah,
and I think people hate on it for no reason.
The wrong reason. Yeah, the wrong reasons.
Like I saw people say like, oh, it's so stupid that like that she's like there's this whole sequence about her and that breakfast sandwich, but I'm like, that's Harley Quinn. What did you expect from that movie?
I know. yeah, I know exactly. And my thing about it is that people hate on it because like like women, it's an agenda. Like bro, shut up. Like not everything is an agenda, bro. Quit the conspiracy theories. But also, what I like about this movie a lot is that it's just like it's really, really great character development for Harley Quinn, and also like it's really good. I wish there was more character development for the rest of the characters.
100%. It did because again, it goes back to the title. It should have been called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey because it's a Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah, or Birds of Prey Harley Quinn. Other than that, the title should not be that long. But that's kind of like my only nitpick is like just wait a little bit more character development. But other than that, it was really good. Ewan McGregor as Black Mask, loved him.
Killed it.
Loved him.
Wish he was in the Black Mask more though.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. I wish he was a little bit more of the Black Mask. And I have one like little nitpick. It's not bad, but I feel like that musical scene was a little too long.
The one where she's sort of like Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, that I mean, it's an okay scene.
I thought that was fine. I haven't seen it
Just a
in a while
little,
though.
little tad long, but other than that, I think the movie is solid. I think it's a solid movie.
100%. Is that the show?
And I think that's it.
Thank you for listening to the Avengenerds podcast. If you want to follow us, we're at Avengenerds on Twitter. That's AVENGE Nerds, all one word. If you want to follow either one of us, you can reach me at @itzenith_. Where can they reach you?
At Torrentino.
Great. So we have a Discord. If you'd like to join the conversation there, that'll be linked in the show notes. I forgot to announce this at the start of the show because I'm an idiot, but we are finally on Apple Podcasts. So please subscribe there if you if Apple Podcasts is your listening platform of choice. You can also review the show in-app on Apple Podcasts. If you leave a 5-star review, you'll have a chance to have your review read out in an upcoming show. So please review the show. It really helps us out. And thanks again for listening to the Avengenerds podcast. We'll see you next week. Venom 2 is next week. So that's probably what we're going to be talking about. So yeah, see you then.
See you later.